And welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What is up, everyone? And today we are covering 40 Several episode 2. This one was there was a lot of what the fuck moments in this one. There was a lot of people being caught with idols, people
Mhm.
being caught talking about idols, people playing idols, where it's a little debatable if, they should have. I know the logic behind it, or like I see the logic behind it, but at the same time, we'll get to that. But yeah, this was a crazy episode, I will say.
Yeah, definitely crazy. Yeah, I was so excited last episode when we also saw Andy. Like they implied that he might have found the idol, and
He did.
he did find the idol. He
He
just
find he found the clue to the idol.
yeah, and he decided I'll come back later for it, which I
Was
just
dumb for like five reasons. First off, you were already on the bottom. Second of all, you're already Why did the
yeah
most paranoid person, one of the most paranoid people in Survivor history, not pick it up and do it? Because the thing is,
yeah
it's like you're already cooked in your
yeah
eyes. Why not just do it? Because like that is your saving grace. Now be like,
yeah.
get up later. It's like, but also if you need it later, you don't want to have the beware thing. You want to make sure that you have that and you've already got the conditions set for it, as opposed to you try and do it the day of and it turns out
Mhm.
to be impossible.
Yeah, I think Andy, because he's an AI research assistant, use AI to look up how to misplay every opportunity in the game of Survivor, and he has the laundry list of how to mess up every scenario, and he is doing it. He's following it to a T.
I will say this was a better I mean, like,
I mean, that's the
apart apart from being voted out, like there wasn't too, like the progress he could have made was way better. Like this one, I think he is in a better position, and that's
yeah,
mostly because Sam is throwing him a life raft.
yeah.
Um,
I think Andy's making final three.
he may indeed. I
Like,
think we're in an interesting spot because he is a good he's a good shield. He's a good he's also someone where he seems desperate enough where if you bring him in, like he switched so fast into like, okay, Sam's the guy now. When last night it was, or like last night it was Rachel. Then it was John, who he betrayed and publicly called him out in front of the entire cast.
mhm.
So I think Sam is definitely there for him, or at least not like
Yeah.
Sam obviously just wants him as the third because that way they have majority in the tribe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think Andy's not going to get a vote from Sam. I don't think he's going to get a vote from Rachel. That's that he can't get voted out. It's the numbers game, as he liked to point out to us in the first episode. He's got
Yeah.
he's got his two people now. Um, so I think he's going to make it to the merge, and then I think no one is going to take him seriously at the merge, and he's almost Gabler. Like maybe he's the Gabler of the season. What if Andy just does all these crazy things, gets to the end, and wins because
You know, there is that possibility. I will
oh
say, and I do repeat the same thing that I did last episode. He can get better. He can.
yeah
And I feel like this was definitely a step in the right direction. Like when he was freaking out about the idol, he didn't publicly say it and everything like that. He didn't bring it up at the immunity challenge. You see, he made progress. And I'm not saying that in being like a patronizing way, like his tribe did every time he opened up a coconut.
yeah they made
Um,
sure now to cheer for him with coconuts.
I
That is
feel
now
I feel like it's one of the things where I feel like, yeah, you had to kind of like make up for it a little bit, but also it's like the way they were kind of treating him, it was like, all right, he's like the child that we have to
Yeah,
babysit. Literally, that's
yeah,
what Sam said. Um,
yeah. Andy watch. You gotta be on Andy
yeah,
watch.
Andy Watch. Yeah. And it's like I feel like it's one of the things where, yeah, he's on Andy Watch right now, but it's something where, like deep down, like his position still wasn't the best. Like every time you survive tribal council, it is always a new start. You don't know what could happen.
Uh-huh.
Um, what tides will shift. Like I feel like the tides have possibly shift here. I feel like it is interesting. I know we're talking a little bit in the future with this one, but especially with Sam finding the idol, um, that and establishing more trust with like Sierra. I think this is going to be interesting moving forward if this tribe goes back to tribal council.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to be Annika. I just feel like all the numbers are pointing to her being on the outs. Sam's kind of in control. He doesn't like the fact that Annika knew about the key and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, and the fact that Sam's close to Sierra and Rachel and now is in with Andy, it just feels like all the signs are pointing to Annika being the next one gone on the Yellow Tribe, which I think they are going again. So I'm not looking great for Annika.
It is true. I think another thing too is like out of the two, Rachel, it feels like Rachel contributes more to that. She was trying to bring Rice back, which that's
Yeah.
another thing too. It's like, it was funny because I was thinking about this during the episode before she started taking the rice. I'm like, isn't it kind of like funny that people or like these people are starving out here and then they're using rice for a prop for a challenge that's just going
Yeah.
to be ruined because it's going to be in seawater and stuff like that and in the sand.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then lo and behold,
I mean, smart on her. Like, I think you should take
yeah,
every chance you can, and if you get caught for it, I guess you get caught. I mean, if I was on the red or blue tribe, I wouldn't want to work with anyone on the yellow tribe. With the things that have happened on these two different immunity challenges, one with Andy's emotional meltdown and just throwing people under the bus, and then with Rachel trying to get that little head start with getting some extra, like those are things that
that
make me
wasn't a bad thing though. If anything, it was kind of like funny. I was like, ooh, that's kind of smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny for us as an audience, but if you're a player out there and you see someone trying to get that, like having that recognition to like this could be an advantage for me in the game and going for it and getting caught, like that's something you gotta like think about.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting for how this yellow tribe is perceived. Say they hit the merge, and I
Well,
don't know. There's
obviously, one or two of them will probably hit the merge, just
yeah,
by pure numbers. One of them or two of them will hit the merge.
yeah, yeah. Uh yeah, well now yeah, because TK goes out here and said
Yeah.
there was a part of me who was kind of hoping for an oolong situation where just the entire tribe goes and then we hit the earn the merge and the two tribes are still the other two tribes are just there.
Well, I mean, like, it is still technically possible because, like, earn the merge or, like, or at least jury.
Uh
Because I know sometimes they switch it around, whether earn the merge is at 13 and then there's still one more before jury, or they
yeah,
have earn the merge at 12. So technically speaking, it is still technically possible that
yeah,
they get completely annihilated before merge.
yeah.
However, I think it is unlikely.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen. I feel like Blue Tribe just lost a pretty good physical player, so I actually would not be surprised if they go back to tribal at some point. And then the Red Tribe. I mean, they're just the all around tribe. I actually feel like they might not go to tribal. I feel like they're always gonna at least get second place in these challenges.
I feel you're right. I do feel like, and I mean, like, I understand on the surface level why getting rid of TK might seem like death for the tribe. However, it's not like it's not like they were using losing Jonathor. It wasn't like Jonathan Young. levels where he was like carrying the tribe or anything. I do feel
Yeah,
like obviously him being the biggest guy gave them an advantage to some degree, but also if we compare who's left on this tribe with the other teams, it's not as, like it's not like he was the only, like, because
yeah,
both Gabe and both Kyle do seem like, like they can hold their own in a physical thing. So
yeah.
I don't think it was like too detrimental.
Yeah, I think the reason that we liked this tribe, like we thought they would never go, is that physical strength, and they have lost it to a certain. Now they're like almost on a even playing field in physical strength with some of these other tribes. Um, so we'll have to see because they when you lose kind of like your win condition for a lot of things, like it becomes hard to, pivot to a new win condition. Like a lot of times you want to like focus in on one thing. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to see how that obviously plays out. But if you say bro 550,000 times, like there's only so much people can handle it.
Yeah, I feel like also this was just like a shitty thing for TK and Kyle to do is have a conversation with people who are actively trying to sleep.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
It's a big camp. It's
Yeah.
like, but to do it, it's like arm's length. Like, he could probably, like arm's length away from Sue talking very loudly. Where it's like you could have at very least like stepped away or at the very I don't know what, maybe like Sue was being polite and didn't bring anything up in the moment and
Yeah.
be like, surely he has enough common sense to just leave.
Yeah. Well, it's one
But
of
he,
those it's the thing of if you mention it, now he feels like it creates that conflict that now TK is going to say, "Oh, now I have to go after Sue." Now I have like those little things are what give people in their minds like this is why I need to take this person out because I just had a conversation with this person that I didn't necessarily like or care for.
negative interaction, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. But yeah, TK should have had, it's just like common courtesy.
Yeah.
It's just common courtesy. You see two people trying to sleep. Why would you,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
it was definitely bad. It was like I think TK when I saw that scene, we didn't even know if they were going to try. We get I was like, I feel like TK is going home here. Like I just immediately was just like, this feels like a scene to set up him going home. And then when the blue team lost, I was like, oh boy, where the story is telling us right now
yeah,
is not looking good for TK.
it really wasn't. I mean, like, and the thing is, TK had promise in this episode in the beginning too,
Yeah.
where it was like, all right, he has three guys, and then thinking of bringing in Tiana. That way, it balances
Mhm.
out that they have their four. They don't have to worry about rocks. Um, and then it just seemed like a good position for him.
Mhm.
But because of his actions and his social game, it kind of turned Tiana away, even though he like apologized afterwards and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like one of the things where there was too much ick around him already that was like, hey, I don't have to be the quote unquote fourth because, sometimes people play by the genders in these games. That's just, I think, a byproduct of like, oh, okay, like let's stick together, some kind of like commonality. And
Mhm.
so, like, maybe she'd been worried if she did go with the guys, even if they said that Gabe was the fourth, that they'd be like, let's just take out the girl. Um, so, like, in this case, it was a much better position for her to go over towards them, especially when she had reservations about TK and him as a player.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with this tribe. I mean, it seems like Kyle is going to be the next easy boost over there. I think Caroline, Gabe, and Sue are just going to control it. They're going to
Yeah.
obviously not vote Tiana because she just kind of made sure that they had the power. So,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be Kyle next. So, I mean, you lose Kyle, and you really can't start just the spiral of losing challenges. He's another person who is pretty good in the challenges.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see like this tribe who on paper seemed like they should have been such a strong tribe has the potential now to be the tribe that just blows up.
Could be the case. I think the thing with the Blue Tribe is that, and I think this is another thing about the new era of Survivor, where yeah, they take into consideration to an extent tribe strength, but they also take into consideration, threats early on and stuff like that, like, whether they're good at challenges.
Mhm.
Whether or not necessarily whether or not they're good at challenges, but also like, all right, are they scheming? Are they playing too hard? Are they someone that further down the line might be an issue? Um, when you get into these scenarios, I think it's like you definitely have to weigh a lot because voting off the wrong person at the wrong time could be very bad for your game because the best way to make it to the merge is not go to tribal council. I know some people are out there as like, like Debbie said, go often, go this. But the thing is, it's like each time you go, you increase your chances of potentially going home, you know,
Yeah. I mean, you got to go at least one time pre-merge, in my opinion. You got to get at least one time.
maybe. But the thing is, it's like, I think you go in, depending on how the teams are divided and stuff like that, expect at least to go twice.
Mhm.
Expect like depending on like how it's like divided, if it's like in the new era, expect to go at least twice
Yeah.
because like if each team lost an equal amount of times, which has only been the case ever once, and that was in 42, but like that is just like statistically speaking what is most likely possible.
Mhm.
um at least, yeah, go in with that kind of headspace, but to actively make the decisions to keep going back and stuff, puts bigger players in jeopardy or
Yeah.
puts you in jeopardy if you're someone where, oh, you might be, especially late game, if you have been like the one person kind of like keeping the team together and stuff like that. Or I think a great example of this was Matt Singh,
Uh,
where while I know like Russell Swan had his issues and whatnot, and like was obviously a big target being a returnee and like captain on that season. However, if they didn't go that often, if they didn't lose four challenges in a row, it would have been a very different story for Russell in the whole game.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean the reason why that I say you need to go at least once, especially, is to it's to test allegiances. Like you don't know who is voting with you until you vote. People are going to tell you what you want to hear until it's time to vote. Um
Yeah.
but when you vote, then it kind of gets solidified. So ideally you only really want to go one, max two times, because as you said, the
Yeah.
more you go, it becomes risky, but you do need to go to make sure that when you hit the merge, you got people who already have a built trust in you. So that way you have people who are willing to fight for you. Because if you go in there, if someone who you think you're close with now suddenly becomes buddy buddy with someone else, you might be the person that gets thrown under the bus immediately, and you don't see it coming because you think that you had something tight from the first 12, 14 days, whatever it takes to hit that part of the game. um so yeah, the more you go the worse, but I think I think the red team does kind of need to go because I see only chaos happening over there on the red tribe. And if they go into the merge with everyone being chaotic and running around with like chickens with their head cut off because they don't know what to do and they know Rome's got this idol, but they want to get Rome, there's so
It
much
could be
stuff.
there is a lot of stuff that could happen. Then again, it's always tough because like you said, you
Mhm.
kind of you have to prove trust, and one of the other than showing an idol, which Gabe did to gain Caroline's trust,
Mhm.
like that is another way to share that information. Information is another way to build that trust, but when it comes to the vote and stuff, like the vote, even if it's like a stray vote on someone, you're willing to lose that person to an
Mhm.
extent. So like, I mean, like when we can even like go back to 45 where Sifu got a vote. Um, and then he was like, so what was the one vote on Sifu? And, like no one was talking and stuff, and it made him more of a lot. I wouldn't say it made him more questioning of his tribe. Even though like no original Reba members were eliminated pre Earn the Merge. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So yeah, let's get into, I guess, the immunity challenge. Unless was there anything else? Oh yeah, wait a second. We gotta go back to Rome. Yeah, we gotta get to Rome.
oh yeah, Rome
Yeah,
and Teeny
yeah,
and that crazy thing.
yeah.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
I was baffled about what was happening. Like, I kind of got why Rome get Telestini. Like, she seems like she might have pull or something, so maybe get her on her side so you're not getting people to go. But then immediately she goes, tells Kashan. Then they go to look at the idol so they can read it, get caught by Rome, and now suddenly, I mean, there's a chance Tini's the one who gets voted out, and Rome idols her out.
It is. Well, I mean, the thing is, he publicly, and I think this is another thing to
Mhm.
talk about how, because we saw two idols, obtain this episode, one from
Yeah,
Sam and also one from Rome.
yeah,
Rome in one part, I mean, like Sam decided, oh, just one time is good enough for me. And then Rome did the same thing, except like for him, it was kind of public and he was definitely the target. So
yeah,
like, he's like, I'm just gonna play the next one, which was
yeah,
smart on Rome's side. And I'm
yeah.
not just saying that because he watches. Uh
Yeah, yeah, he was going to have to regardless. I
yeah.
also think this is going to be the season with the most misplayed idols because everyone is going to be scared because they saw what happened in 46. We saw it in this episode with Gabe. He did not need to play it on himself. There is no reason to. Um,
There is two reasons to.
okay, go for it.
So let's say Tiana wasn't um on their side, which I think is a bit of a stretch. But, if it ended up in a deadlock, if it ended up in a tie, that immunity idol means that he doesn't have to draw for rocks.
Yeah, but he
Um,
also knows where the vote's going because Kyle and TK are expecting him. So if he's going to play it on Sue.
yeah, there is that.
Yeah,
Um, he could have done that. And then he also, one of the other things too is, and during tribal council, Jeff was even like, hey, um, and he kind of like had to cover for himself. Like, I want to be like Tarzan. I wanted to be like Indiana Jones. Let me be like Indiana Jones. Because like that was a talking point at tribal council of him going off and exploring, which obviously means, oh, he could be going out for idols. So one of the best ways to like, mitigate that kind of suspicion, at least from the other side, is to just burn it, which it's still very questionable, but it's like one of the things where I see why he did it. Do I still think it was a good move? Obviously not, because like he's the only person that got the idol that actually extended the amount of time you could use it for,
yeah,
and he wasted it. Yeah.
yeah. I think I think that's why we saw Sam and Rome both take it has to be used to the next one. I think everyone who gets idols this season are just going to be scared because there was so much hate that happened to everyone who got voted out with idols last season. Everyone saw it, and I don't think when you go out there, you don't want to be getting hate for doing something stupid. You want to like if you misplay an idol, whatever, you're still in the game. You still have a chance. But if you get voted out with an idol in your pocket, you look like an idiot. And there's
Of
no,
course. Yeah.
yeah, there's just no like, oh, but I could have done this. Like, you just actively messed up. Um, so I think we are just gonna see anytime someone gets an idol or some advantage, it's like I got to use it. I got to play it right now. I just got to make sure I'm here to see the next day. Even if they're Sam and Gabe, who are in great positions in their tribes, not going out, I think that they're still just going to be like, gotta play it. We did see that Sam's willing to play it on Andy. But I think he has the numbers. Like, there's no need to play it on Andy either.
Yeah, that doesn't really accomplish too much because
Yeah.
here's the thing. If Sierra decides she doesn't want to go with that plan, well, the thing is, it's like you don't necessarily want to turn on your app. And you even said she even like mentioned was like, I don't necessarily think keeping Annie's the best thing, but like Sam is my like, my closest ally, so maybe I just go with it. Um, I mean, I think that's a give and take within an alliance. It's like, you have to kind of respect each other's choices.
Mhm.
Granted, he's just spitballing. When you're strategizing with your alliance, sometimes you spitball some crazy ideas. Um, but yeah, he had the numbers. And like also when you get an idol and stuff, kind of like what we were talking about on the opposite end of it, it's like, well, you also want your idols to count when you do play it. Because like even if it's hard to say you misplayed an idol if it just expires. Because
Yeah,
like, oh, it's only good for one round. There's no real reason to keep it around for a souvenir. Just might as well play it because you literally have no reason not to.
exactly.
Um, Even if you're not getting votes, it's like I guess just play it. If he has the majority, because it is, 3-2 on this tribe, and Sierra could go with the ladies, but because she's close with Sam, I don't see it happening unless Sam really messes up somehow.
Yeah. And I mean, he also kind of carried them through that challenge.
Yeah.
So after that kind of performance, you're like, you can't really vote him out because he's gonna probably at least win you another challenge or two in the pre-merge. So yeah, there's
Yeah,
not really, it's not like Sam really is the most valuable player. He's
on
the
that
glue guy
tribe.
right now. He's got he's the glue of Andy, Rachel, and Sierra right now. And yeah, just leaving Annika out
Yeah.
there.
Um, it is kind of interesting because he did not tell Andy that he found the idol.
Mhm.
Now, the tough thing is, especially because it expires next round and because of everything, the lie is going to come out.
Yeah.
And it's how is Andy going to react to it? Because Andy could have been like, "Oh shit, you already found it, dude. I'm so sorry," and say that he already found it because like he either plays it and then already with Andy knowing like that he was kind of like freaking out a little bit because
Yeah.
someone found it. He even went to the spot and then it's like I think it's one of those things where when he plays it, he might get in trouble with Andy, but it's really like, well, what can you do at that point?
But if he plays it on Andy, then Andy's just grateful. It's like he had Idol all along. Didn't have to do anything about it.
True, true. I guess it's like one of those things of like slight mistrust where,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. But like,
I was definitely
I under
I was upset to be honest when Andy didn't grab it because I wanted so bad to see Andy have to deal with the Beware advantage and doing all that stuff in public.
yeah,
Like it would have been great entertainment.
it would have been. But I think the thing is, it's like I was so surprised when he put it back. It's like
He
I
knows.
mentioned
He
this
knows
before.
he's
It's
on the
like,
bottom.
yeah, it's like you can't you can't truly felt like you walked away from that from a good thing. You saved yourself another like couple days, but like I don't know, it just seemed weird that he put it back.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I feel like um if you are gonna put it back, you want to bring it. You want to like maybe. I think we saw in one of the other seasons. I'm forgetting which season. I think it was 45,
41.
41. Oh no. I know what you're talking about, but there's a different one that happened. I think in 45 with Brandon giving it to Sabaya. But he like finds it, doesn't want it, and then brings someone who he thinks is his close ally to go find it so that she has it like there's some idea of that could be potentially good, but it seemed at least from the edits that he found it and then was like, I don't know, I'm gonna go think about it more, and then came back later in the day and then it was gone. um
Yeah.
so if that your entire plan is just I'll come back later and get it, then just get it and then hide it. If you know you're going to go do it, just do it.
Yeah.
um
I
like
mean, I remember Carla doing something similar, and we were like, what the heck?
yeah.
She got, she got lucky because, like, then again, Carla wasn't really in danger on that tribe, so not too
Mhm.
many people were like looking for the idol.
Yeah.
But, like, with Gabe being on danger, it's like, and especially like, he's like, I have to find it. It's like, I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. um okay, so now I think we can talk about the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
Uh let's see. I'm trying to remember. There wasn't too much. I mean, it seemed like a pretty standard challenge, at least for me. Um, uh, I mean, the biggest takeaway for me really is just like TK being terrible at the little dragon thing. Like he was just like barking
Yeah.
orders a lot. Didn't really know how to like talk to his like how to actually coordinate
Members. Yeah.
that. Yeah, so which does lead into him losing the challenge and going out, and then obviously the whole everyone on the blue tribe smiling, or at least a few of them, and Jeff
Yeah.
calls it out. TK's not happy. um
I
which
mean, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm in TK style. Like, you shouldn't be smiling after you just lost. Like,
No, like, I understand not wanting to like dwell on the loss,
yeah,
or at the very least, like, I understand like good sportsmanship, but at the same time, yeah, but it's not like they had like giant wide ass smiles on their face. Like,
no,
they were just like, yeah.
yeah,
And so they're just kind of like smiling, just like, being a good sport about it. Um, I mean, TK made a point, especially because, like, all right, now you're getting rid of someone too. Um, so I don't know. I mean, it's much different when, like, and him with the sports background, it's like, all right, it's much different because it's like if you lose a football match, you don't lose a team member on your team.
yeah,
If you lose, like, or like if you lose like a track and field thing, there's always going to be another meet unless you do
yeah,
insanely bad or like you injure yourself. Like
yeah,
with these reality competition shows, it's like, okay, you don't get to play anymore. Like one of you is not going to be able to play anymore
yeah.
because that's the game.
That would be a great league though, where like a baseball or football league, where every time you lose, you you lose someone on your team, and you
That's
keep
just your
going
chaotic ass brain and work.
and you keep going until you literally can't play because you can't deal with enough people. It's great.
I think you have reality compitis and you just
Yeah.
want to insert it in every aspect.
I think it would be a blast. It'd be so much fun. uh, but yeah, surprisingly, the Gada tribe, the Yellow tribe, they were the first ones to finish, which I was actually pretty surprised. You know,
Well, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, it's always about that final challenge. We talked about win
yeah,
conditions earlier and how getting rid of TK was getting rid of your win condition. The win condition has always been completing the puzzle at the end,
hmm
and everything you do up until that point buys you time. Now, especially with that challenge, it required communication and a steady hand.
hmm
Because like if you go too far in one direction, the ball drops, literally.
yeah,
Um, so I think it's like one of the things where, all right, Sam was level-headed, and it did seem like Annika and Sierra. Well, Sierra being, in the medical field, you have
hmm
to kind of have steady hands to do some of the stuff they do.
yeah,
And it's like one of those things where that kind of required also like finesse, gentle touch, stuff like that. And I know
uh,
sometimes and especially like since we had all the guys do it on the blue tribe, I'm not saying that automatically means like, oh, they're going to be too hard or stuff, but it might be trickier to finesse it a little bit because you're also gauging your strength and everyone's strength.
I was really hoping to see Andy have to be there for the steady hands. That would have been fun. I want to see
There's a
Andy.
reason why he didn't. There's a reason why he wasn't on that
I
part.
want to see Andy do everything in the entire game. I want to see him try every single aspect of this game. I want to see him go
He
to
was
fire.
stabbing open the thingy. He was
I hope
stabbing it open.
I hope he gets to Final Four and gets to do force fire making. Imagine the paranoia and stress of him having to cope with making fire. And
Oh, you're just mean. You're just mean.
it would be great television. This is what we've been missing in Survivor is these kind of just like big chaotic moments. Everything's so controlled now. It's boring.
We've seen a lot of chaotic moments in 46.
Well, that's
We
what I'm
just
saying.
talked.
46 started it, but we need to keep the trend going.
So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like I still think Andy could get better. I feel like he is a. I saw the little like you doubt it. It is possible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, us going to the moon is possible in our lifetime, but I'm not counting on us.
I'm just waiting until I'm an A-lister, then boom, you can buy your way. I'll take you with me.
Okay, I'll hold you to it. But yeah, no.
This is not legally binding.
Uh, Something else in the challenge though, Sam really, those bags of rice were pretty heavy, especially going through water. Sam's the only one who just by himself was doing it. Like no one
Yeah,
else was allowed to touch the rice. It was just Sam by himself, which actually benefited them because you didn't have like multiple people have to slowly work together with it. It
yeah,
was just one guy who just kind of could go at his own pace.
yeah,
Probably TK should have done it. I mean, I guess on the red tribe, like Soul would be your biggest guy. I don't know if he would be able to do it. But yeah, I mean that probably was the strategy was just let one person like let your strongest person just do it.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for the challenge, for the most part.
Yeah.
Uh, Before we get into confessional count, which that's gonna be fun to talk. We talked a little bit before we started recording about the confessional count.
Mhm.
Um, but is there anything else we've got to cover?
I'm looking. I don't think so. I mean, I think we've covered pretty much everything that I can think of. Um, yeah, I think we can just go into the confessionals.
All right, so we'll get to it in a sec. But like, all right, so
Yeah.
what did TK? What was his final number?
His final, he goes out with 12 confessionals. Um, he got 3 confessionals this episode, so pretty good for a second boots. Pretty good.
Only three? I was like, I think maybe because like we saw a lot of him with other people as well. It felt like, wow, only
Mhm.
three?
Yeah, a lot of people talked about him. Almost everyone on the Blue Tribe has a confessional about TK. I believe so. Um,
Hmm, makes
um,
sense.
so this episode though, can you guess who had the most confessionals?
Uh, I'm guessing it's either Sam, Gabe, or Teeny.
It
I think
is
I'm wrong.
it is Sam. That is
Yeah.
correct, and he had 16 confessionals.
16. Jesus Christ. Is that like a record?
Uh, Maybe in the 90 minutes episodes, it might be. It very might be a 90-minute episode confessional record.
16. Wow, that is a lot. Like I would say
Yeah.
like, man.
It has shot him up into first place in the confessionals at 19
Yeah.
confessionals.
Well, no
Um, yeah. So good on Sam getting his screen time in episode 2 here. Next up, we have Gabe at 18 confessionals.
Oh, wait,
So
what is Sam's score right now?
Sam's got 19.
19. Okay.
So Gabe's just one behind. And then we got Aisha with 14 confessionals. She only had one confessional this episode.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing. Like if you only get one, like at least they're letting us still see her.
Yeah.
But yeah. And she had 13 the previous episode. She doesn't need to get crazy numbers all the time. Um, then next up we got Andy with 13 confessionals.
Hmm.
Doing pretty good there, pretty good. And then we got a tie with 12 confessionals between Rome. And that was TK. So yeah, no, it's just Rome now with 12.
Gotcha.
Um, Next up we got Sue with 11 confessionals. Um,
Makes sense.
and then it looks like we go down to Tiana with 9 confessionals. Then we got Annika and Rachel at 8 confessionals. Teeny
Alright.
with 7 confessionals. And then it looks like we got 4 confessionals with Sierra and Caroline. 3 confessionals with Kishan. And then at the very bottom, we got 2 confessionals with Genevieve, Soul, and Kyle.
Damn. I'm just saying, what? Wait, I thought Genevieve only got one confessional last
Yeah,
episode.
apparently they updated it because technically she had a confessional at the beginning, but we don't see her face, but she says she's one of the ones who says something, so they count that as a
Gotcha.
confessional. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, she got zero this episode. And
Yeah.
that feels great because she is my winner pick.
You never know. You never know, Ryan. You never know.
Never in the history of Survive. Well, before they announced the winners and everything, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what the numbers are for like Natalie White, or
Natalie,
Danny
I believe,
Bobrat.
had Natalie had I it was either 14 or 19 confessionals at the ends.
But I mean, like, did she?
Yeah.
I know it was like 19, but like, did she have an episode where she didn't have a confessional?
Oh, definitely, definitely. It had to have happened.
Because I'm
Um
pretty sure I know they announced it live and everything, but I'm pretty sure they also include in the edit some stuff to be like, yo,
Natalie's first 3 episodes, she had 0 confessionals. Then she had confessionals in episode 4 and 5. Then had 0 confessionals in episodes 6 and 7. And then she also had no confessionals in episodes 11 and 12.
so technically speaking, it is possible.
It is
I
still
just
very,
find I just find in this era of Survivor,
yeah,
especially like when they've been especially when editing has been an issue for some of them, like
yeah,
I think ever since like 44. Well, I feel like this season they've been under editing quite a few people,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
She just has to make it. It's been 2 seasons in a row where I had no one make, or my number one pick not make it to the jury phase
yeah,
slash, even merge, technically. They both went out at 13.
yeah,
You felt that sting last time.
yep.
Still not enough. Um,
Yeah. Hey, at least Rome's here to episode 4, and I think this tribe's gonna keep winning. I think that he's playing that idol at the earn the merge. I think he's got it to earn the merge. And then I think he's gonna be in a lot of trouble come the merge.
it really depends. That's too far ahead to really know.
Yeah.
Um, because like if he is on the bottom, I don't know if he perceives himself really on the bottom.
Yeah. It seems like he
Um,
thinks he's in a better spot than he is.
yeah, even though like I feel like he should have raised a lot more eyebrows of Teeny showing Keyshawn. It's one thing
Yeah.
to talk about, hey, I found this advantage, or oh, hey,
Uh-huh.
he told me about his advantage and stuff. It's a
Yeah.
whole other thing to actually show someone.
Yeah. And let them know where you're keeping it.
Yeah, that was like a whole other level of that's like, and I know she said she was like talking her way out of that situation, and
Yeah.
the way they spoke about it was pretty good. However, I don't know. I don't think Rome is that gullible. Or at the
Mhm.
very least, that's something that might stick in the back of his mind. He might be denying it a little bit because, like, okay, I
Uh,
just put faith in this person, but
yeah. Well, that's why he just wants that one time, like just play it immediately. Like just say, okay,
yeah,
well, you guys can all figure out who else is going to be the first target because it's sure as hell not going to be me.
yeah. All
uh,
right.
okay. MVPs and LVPs. Who you got?
For MVP, I think even though he misplayed an idol, I still want to say Gabe,
Mhm.
mostly because he flipped the vote. He's in a much solid foundation, and now some of the heat is off of him. And he, was able to establish trust with someone that was a little on the fence with him in
Mhm.
Caroline, align with the people he wanted to align with, and at the very least, I see that he's been a good spot for two more tribal councils.
Yeah. I'm just not giving it to him because I do think he should have just held on to it.
Yeah.
And used it on his third tribal council he goes to because I think he is in that good spot. I am going to give it to Sam. I think he's in a way better spot this episode than he was last episode in terms of just like there's no one who's voting him out of this game. He
Yeah.
killed it in the challenge. He found an idol. He's got the person who was on the outs who now is on his side. So there's just no chance that he doesn't make the merge. Like I feel like this episode just like secured his spots making the merge. Even if
Or
this
at
tribe
least
gets
earn the merge.
yeah, even if this tribe gets decimated, I just feel like he's going to out survive everyone who he's with.
There. LVP, I have to give it to TK.
Yeah,
He talked his way out of a good position. Um, Lack of social awareness.
yeah,
I just feel like other than like Teeny showing, and the thing is like
yeah.
Teeny, they were able to bounce back from that, but like TK, it just did not look good for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't even really say she bounced back. Like she gave him a response.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that his response is going to land. I really do think that Rome's choices for if they do try to still target him is either going to be Teeny or Aisha. So if for some reason they do decide to put the votes on, it's going to be one of those two. I don't think Teeny was an option before. Um, but now she is for Rome. But I still say TK
For
because
Rome, yes.
wait, what?
For Rome, yes. But I
Yeah,
still think that since he's on the outs, if this four that was established episode one is still together,
yeah.
I
I
hate saying
just
it, they could target Genevieve because, like, all
yeah,
right, he's going to use it anyway. Let's target the only other person that's not in our four.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because Sean and Soul also haven't gotten much content, also, so there's a
Yeah,
chance that they just get an episode where suddenly we see them and they get like five confessionals and then get Io out of the game.
it is possible.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think it really depends because that was definitely a Final Four that was just kind of just made.
yeah,
And I think another thing when you're on the bottom and why you want to win immunity, if especially if you're on the bottom, is you give more opportunities for the people that are in that majority alliance to mess up
hmm
and maybe say something or rub people the wrong way where it's like, oh, I had a good feeling about I had a good feeling about Soul, but then he was like chewing with his mouth open. Now I'm not quite feeling that. It's like something like that, as
hmm
opposed to being like, all right, we're going, let's get rid of Genevieve, and then being like, oh wait, he eats with his mouth open. Dang it. So like you never know.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, well, I think that does it for this episode. Is there anything else you can think of, or we calling us?
Yeah. Wasn't too much that I remembered from the next time on Survivor.
Yeah, I barely
Um,
remember. I
yeah, I watched it this morning and I didn't.
I was at a friend's house and they kept talking during it, so
Yeah.
I definitely don't remember too much. I like vaguely remember something about Rome was in it. That's about it.
It was like something positive about Rome, it looked like. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we will see you all in the next one.
All right, peace.